played a significant part of the season, and it's time he started producing as if he is one of the A-graders in the competition.
Second half underway. Fremantle, a narrow lead. Minson with the takeaway to start this second half. Dalhouse got there, left it behind, got crunched, got a free.
Big call by the umpire there because Freo were off if he didn't pay it.
Had a 2-goal second term, Luke Dalhouse. Keep the Dogs in it. And again, another 14.5-metre pass to Minson.
Intercept.
Almost. Easton Wood. Called to go, took a step according to the umpire, and Ballantyne doesn't come at him. 14-metre pass to Big Will, and he gets jumped on, wins himself a free.
Freo are smart here. They know Western Bulldogs are going to chip short. They can intercept the ball. They just have to be clever about it, cause the turnover, and then make them pay.
The leads come, sits it up, Griffin up 3 deep, forced the spillage. Fee couldn't break free with it. Crowley had a chance. Smith dragged down. Dixon shoots it out. Dalhouse dangerous. Got it on the boot. Doesn't bend it back enough.
But once again, Dalhouse was able to get the ball on the back. I think it was Smith who just worked harder in the middle of the pack, and he got away for a shot at goal. If that goes through, Ross Lyon, he would have been, I think, excused from throwing something in the box.
Well, Jonathan Griffin should have taken the mark there. Dalhouse, he's had 10 disposals, kicked 2 goals, 1.
Christian Howard, almost an arm slap free there. He got an over-the-shoulder free.
It's all going the Dogs' way at the moment. They've just got to maintain their composure and try and hit up a target, and there's a poor kick.
Dixon makes it look okay, but he can't bend it around enough, and it's a 1-point game.
The point you made, Roo, is just a simple one, but it's the accurate one. Everybody from Freo knows they're going to chip the ball 15 metres or 12 and get away with it, and yet they're not inside their shadow or side by side. They're able to get away with it forward to the centre. Here's the rebound. They get a chance.
The ball's on.
Great pass. McPhee on the run. De Boer takes the mark. He can take off. Open spaces ahead. Kepler Bradley feeds into one of those spaces, and he sets it up. Pavlich might be good enough. He is. He's had a sighter from that pocket already and hit the post from there. In fact, he was a little further out, and the angle was a little more acute.
It's the wind where it's coming from for a right footer just makes it twice as hard to kick a goal. So he probably actually has to give the goals away and kick to the right of the right post. The wind is pretty strong, so just about back him in to kick this one, Jared.
You're a better punter than I am, Roo.
Drives it towards goal. He is all class, Matthew Pavlich. That was pure artistry from there.
The way he's going, he's going to win his 7th best and fairest, I think, Matthew Pavlich.
Yeah, he's got a couple of competitors. I reckon De Boer would be one, and Michael Johnson would be another. But if you can keep on making predictions like that, we'll retire at the end of this year, because that was all class. So was his kick. But it came on the end of really smart ball movement. They got it, they hit targets, they didn't sit and wait. They just used 4 long kicks and set up a shot for Pavlich.
And great urgency by Adam McPhee off the half-back line. You mentioned, Jared, they really needed to lift their work rate. He just burst off the half-back line and hit a target up front.
Opening goal, second half, Matthew Pavlich. Wallace, the clearance. The pluck from McPhee.
Not being critical of the Western Bulldogs, but you know, it's hard to see them being able to win and kick a winning score if they don't kick long at some stage, isn't it?
It's interesting. The Bulldogs have won more clearances than they've conceded this year, but they just don't make much of them. And simple stats can be deceptive sometimes when you see a team wins the clearances, but turn it straight over with that clearance. Mzungu,
That's a great kick.
To Pavlich.
Too big.
It's a shocking kick. I mean, that's the issue they've got at hand right now. One after the other. Poor disposal. Give the ball away.
Blake unlucky there. Free kick to Main. Feeds it off to Pearce. Wants Pav. And hits him one-handed. Still kicks the goal from the goal line. Just an amazing player. And the crowd come to watch him alone.
Well, Pavalone is keeping them with their nose in front in this game. This was a really good individual performance by Pav. Got the ball back, Main got it out finally, and it's just a long kick from Pearce. Patersons didn't even know this ball was coming. Fortunately, he was good enough. I think he drew the free kick. That's why he was allowed to play on advantage.
He's almost beating the Bulldogs single-handedly. Pavlich has 4. The Bulldogs have 4. 6-7 plays 4-6. Campbell in the ruck now. Griffin against him to Pearce, to Barlow. They put the foot down the Dockers. Early stages, second half. Ballantyne attacked it hard. Grover from 50. Pavlich lurking ominously in the pocket. Markovic was right with him. Pavlich feeds back, and that's deliberate from Higgins. Surely.
How do you do that? Oh. That looked like he just whacked it straight out of bounds.
That is bizarre that the umpire could be 2 metres away from that and not pay it.
Felt sorry for him.
Flick down, maybe he wants the Fremantle fans obviously called for it and doesn't want those numbers up. Gilby wide. Mundy.
Much better use of the body by Mundy. Just about snag it from here.
To the pocket. Sunshine in the eyes, and Kepler shielded the eyes well.
OK, Roo, you predicted Matthew Pavlich from a similar angle on the other side of the ground.
Well, I don't know. I'm not sure of the rule here. Can you play on and come around in, or is that?
That'd be play on. You're allowed to do it.
Well, that's what I'd be doing. I'd be running around and bending it back.
Well, there's no one to stop him from the quick run around.
And that's bad defence.
Across the face. And the mark to Campbell.
Not one Bulldogs player come in to block the line if he was going to run around.
Minson with Johnson. Pavlich, we could have gone for the mark. Claims that no one talked. Could have cut him some slack, Matthew Pavlich. He normally reads the situation well. Main about to come back on. Keppel Bradley coming off. Fremantle can smell some more blood here. They've kicked 2 goals in 3 minutes to start this second half. Campbell can't break free.
So, Jacko, who looms like the recipient of the red jacket for the Dockers?
Oh, question without warning, but
Give you some think time, Jacko. Ball back in the hands of Barlow. Crowley bounces it inside 50. The flick back. Pavlich taps it down in the Ballantyne direction. Boyd got there first. Great smother, Ballantyne. Mundy stolen back again, and the kick ricochets from Boyd and then out of play. Ballantyne gets another round of applause.
I think the issue is that Bradley's probably there as a backup ruckman in case Griffin gets crook. But if Grover could do that job, then Bradley may get his number in the slot, or maybe Anthony Grover, who's now playing up in the forward line.
Might even be Hill too after being out for a couple of weeks if he gets through to the 3/4 time.
I don't think it'd hurt to get the run of Duffield on. I know you're taking a risk going so early.
They probably don't need to do it at this point. Jared, they're looking reasonably comfortable.
And Jason Tutt, the sub for the Western Bulldogs. So it would be a big call to bring him on, given that he's only in game 4 for his career, as opposed to Duffield, who's been a long-time servant of the Fremantle Football Club with over 100 games to his name. And there is Tutt, Jason Tutt. First game for 2012 after 3 games last year.
He kicked 3 against Port one day, didn't he?
He did, and was the star of the show in that.
His first 3 kicks?
I think it was. Griffin to half forward. Bouncing ball, beats a couple, flick down. Almost worked by Pavlich. Higgins, Markovic, danger, cut off, Grover, great commitment, also Eastonwood, free kick in the back, Pavlich plays onto a disadvantage, and the umpire cuts the Pav some slack. It'll come back and be Main's kick.
Brilliant effort by Grover, though. I think it was Grover coming blinded.
He's hurt too, big
looks
fella.
like he's KO'd himself.
how he hits the deck here.
I don't know what, might be winded maybe.
Yeah.
Nothing in it.
First game back for Anthony Grover. First game under Ross Lyon. He's in the hands of trainers.
Jared just called for him to be subbed, and he might have did it by injury.
Well, Paul Duffield, as we mentioned, an experienced player as the sub for Fremantle. He's up.
Get some wind in those lungs. Not a good feeling when you can't get the air in.
So they've got the ball with one of their best set shot players in the team.
The best set shot player in the AFL this year, Chris Mayne. 25 goals, 3 in 2012, and that was never in doubt. He's automatic. Biggest lead of the game to Fremantle.
Just starting to wind it up. The Dockers playing a much more simplistic brand of footy, getting the ball and moving it a lot quicker and winning their share of the contested ball. But Anthony Grover's been doing this for a long time in defence, and well, this time he gets a full body slam from the forward line.
Spoke about before the game clearances and contested possessions. Well, the Freo winning contested possessions, clearances and tackles, and if you win those 3, you'll win the game. And it helps if you kick straight as well, Ryan.
Absolutely.
Anthony Grover's left hip is in the hands of the trainers, as you can see there, but when he first came off, he just mentioned that he's hurt his hip.
Bulldogs are breaking strain right now. Fremantle threatening to punch this out in the third term beyond them. Cross. High inside 50. McFarlane got back. Didn't go for it in the end. A couple of bounces and it beats everyone. Johnson. Bradley just back on. Mundy. To one-on-ones outside 50. Griffin. Higgins takes them on.
Great chase.
Ballantyne runs him down. It's the little things for Hayden Ballantyne. Doesn't have to be the goals. When he's on, he can really turn a game. He's turned one this third term. McPhee to Hill. Pavlich short. Hits him. And now Mayne runs inside 50. Pavlich sees him. Puts it in Mayne's direction. He backtracks. Ducked away by Lake.
Without doubt, though, that was the Dockers' best passage of play, and it started with a brilliant chase from Hayden Ballantyne on Higgins, who had to whip the ball away, and then a really good passage of play to set up this other chance at goal.
Lake and Cross both injured in that. Muzungu, Ibbotson, kick half smothered through Mayne. Easton Wood pick and run down from behind. Didn't look like a legal handball. Crowley off the deck. It rolls, it tumbles, and it's brilliant. Fremantle by 25.
A little bit of natural justice there, because I think the umpires gave Liam Picken a get out of jail free card. Let's take another look at this chase down. Here's Picken trying to get away.
Why isn't that holding the ball?
Didn't look like he got his fist on it to me. Maybe the umpire thought he may have. But a brilliant soccer cross-like goal from Ryan Crowley, who uses the spin of the ball to perfection. He must do a lot of practice on those ones.
.25 points the margin and growing. 4 goals in a row to start this second half. 5 goals in a row for the game in general. They kicked the last goal of the opening half, the Dockers. Barlow bounces it to half forward. Higgins beaten for it. Broughton keeps his feet, gathers, gives. Pavlich, he rolls it and sprays it. Ball in.
Good result, though. Better to go out of bounds than for a point. They can go back, set up a nice clearance here, and they've won them 7-4 or 7-5 for the quarter now, so chance to score again.
Bulldogs just lost their way at these clearances, which has allowed the Dockers to play the game on their terms.
Cross wins a clearance. Dixon clean bowled by it. And ball rolls out of play. Grover in the hands of Physio.
27 possession to 41 at the moment. Not getting enough hands on ball, the Bulldogs.
Smith got his hands on the ball, but They're hunting in packs right now. The Dockers have lifted their rate, both with and without the ball.
Some of their big ball winners, Boyd with 2, Liberatore with 2, Cross with 2, Gilby with 1, Griffin with 1, so they need to get a move on.
Yeah, they just haven't owned the ball, though. In the first half, they chip-kicked, got everybody into it, lots and lots of marks. At the moment, just 4 field marks at this stage, and none of them are being contested.
Substitution by Fremantle, Anthony Grover out of the game for Paul Duffield about to come in, as you can see there.
It's the run back into the side. Probably be worth giving them a crack through the middle of the ground as well. They've got their defence pretty well set up. Could give him a crack through the middle as part of the rebuild.
Flick up, okay, from Sutcliffe into the team this week. Cameron Sutcliffe, his first AFL game, he's held his own. 55-30, 25-point margin. If you've just joined us, it's the biggest margin of the game. Fremantle a man down, Duffield about to come on.
Great tap.
Lower. Grabbed it and got up. Just wanted it more. Here's Sutcliffe on cue. Flicks a handball in the main direction. Missed him. Boyd pumps it to the wing. Back of the pack, Dalhouse takes them on. Got caught. Sherman back to Dalhouse. And towed away by Johnson from Minson.
So Mundy currently playing as a halfback. Does he go onto the ball and Duffield goes to his spot? Or?
Well, Duffield's used to playing in the back line, so that'll be the easy one and give Munday, see if he can release him and get his hands on the ball. Or you could put Duffield in the midfield and try and give him a bit of spark with fresh legs.
Advantage paid. Griffin read that beautifully. Took off, a couple of bounces, in full stride. Pavlich on the move. That is as good as it can get. A big man running at full pace, delivering a 45-metre pass to Pavlich on the run.
Yeah, well, that's how you like him as a full forward, don't you? A beautiful kick to the advantage side. He's a good athlete, Jonathan Griffin. I don't think we've seen the best of him in his footy career to date, but
a few recruiting officers, list managers would have seen that. Probably just sparked a little bit more interest.
This is for number 5 for Matthew Pavlich, having another outstanding season. He is gold class. They lead by 31.
Third time in 5 weeks now he's kicked 5 or more, so really starting to find some form, and no coincidence when he's been playing deeper in the forward line where we all think he should play, but we understand that their midfield was really lacking at the start of the year, and Ross Lyon probably needed him in the midfield just to get some more inside 50s, but he can extend his career and play for another 3 or 4 years maybe as a full forward, especially if they can recruit another big key forward to play centre half.
Yeah, it's an interesting point you make about the key centre forward. Obviously, the world knows that they went for Travis Cloak, but let's say he's out of the reckoning. I think they're as deficient or would get more benefit out of getting some more A-grade midfielders or A-grade midfielders rather than worrying about the tools.
No, you're right. They need some speed and they need some depth in the midfield.
They've got Morabito coming back. 5 comes back. Add that to what they've got.
Fit Mundy.
They're expecting Morabito to play in 2 weeks' time against GWS, Jared.
Yep. Young Crozier looks like a find. I mean, they've got some young talent, but if you could just put another couple of really high-end midfielders into this group, even if they have to play off half-back at times, they become a really potent unit.
Pickin, long to the hot spot. Fremantle with the numbers. McPhee thumped it clear of his own man. Get a ball in.
So at half-time, Root, the Bulldogs get a major tick. I mean, their coach would have been really pleased, I think, with their intensity, but they've left it in the shed. I mean, they always knew that the Dockers would come out and have a much better crack than they did. They've got another 30, 40 minutes to resurrect themselves.
Well, as you said, it was how long they were going to be able to do it for, and Freo have definitely stepped it up this quarter and just being a lot more efficient. I mean, 5 goals straight as opposed to those 3 goals they missed in the third quarter. It's put so much more pressure on the scoreboard.
Gilby Called to go because it wasn't 15. Wallace, a 1-2, 1-2. Austin floats one wide. Howard took on Main, almost lost. Gilby looks up. He's got Boyd. He pumps it towards goal. Ballantyne gets back, makes a contest. Cordy, Ballantyne, he bounced up like a rubber ball. Went back to try and attack it. Sherman wrapped up by Crowley. Ball, and the crowd finding voice for the first time today. Ballantyne takes off. Broughton his target. Gets one to the ear. Umpire let it go. Lake. The fend off. And it's almost on the full. Sherman marks. Crowd wanted it.
That was out of bounds on the full, wasn't it? I think the boundary umpire had the player right in front of him.
Dalhouse got a couple to beat here, and they're both bigger than him.
The Bulldogs have made their substitution. Jason Tutt comes into the game for Tom Campbell out.
Okay, so big dog gone for the day. Brought on a man who they hope will kick a few goals for them. Jason Tutt, his first game for 2012.
Some people have more tackles than others, Roo, but who do you think, given an opportunity, is the best tackler in the game? I say so because I asked the question because I reckon Chris Main would be in the calculations.
Best in forward 50. He absolutely sets the benchmark for Freo and would be right up there in the competition for Precious, but certainly for a big man. He's 6'2", 6'3".
You wouldn't want Cyril to be tracking. I don't think anyone gets away from Cyril.
Jack Darling does a good job.
Jack's a really good nomination.
Bradley just ripped it out of the air. Barlow, Hill, all had a piece of it, but not enough of it. Minson, not a bad kick from the clearance there. Sherman, good spot to kick to. Everton, stolen from him. Kick forward by Boyd. Bouncing ball, it beats Cordy. It might beat them all and roll through. Crowley just turned up on its end. Fee. Straight through the hands, and Griffin gifted a goal. Hard to believe, but it keeps the Dogs in it.
Yes, if they can score another quick one or two before three-quarter time, Dwayne, you'll be spot on. This is really hard to believe from two senior players. I mean, it wasn't going to Mundy first up, but it came off the inside of the boot. It was a shocker, and Mundy should have taken it anyway. And Ryan Griffin, who's been pretty quiet, he gets gifted one.
Not sure that's what's required. He kicks a goal, finally gets into the game, and he gets taken off. Ryan Crowley would be a little bit upset with his teammates for handing a goal to Ryan Griffin after the job that he's done on Griffin so far today. Kept him goalless until that point. It wasn't his fault. Duffield the sub, just on. Pearce, Lower, De Boer, Barlow. Touch play on, as you heard. Gilby slaps it toward the boundary line. Ball in.
David Mundy just went at that ball like he's got no confidence. You can see a player when he's down and sort of second grabbed it, so he just needs to get his confidence up, work hard on the training track, whether it be fitness and skill and touch, and get it right for the last half of the year.
Ballantyne again weaves some magic, puts it back in the Pavlich direction, got a hand on it. Markovic taps it to Gilby, caught. Austin bumped off it by Main. Disciplined centering ball. Mzungu goes, gets, didn't quite get enough toe on it. Rush behind.
Once again, Main, just great defensive pressure there, bumped his opponent out of the way and created a scoring attempt.
Big win this if Fremantle can hold on, take it all the way home. They've lost their past 2 games coming in. They've lost 5 of their past 6 games this season, Fremantle. But this could turn it all around. Fist out of play, we've mentioned a few times, but for those who've joined us late, next week they play Melbourne, then Greater Western Sydney, and then Port Adelaide. win today and those 3, suddenly they're 10 wins and 7 losses, and they're in the 8 with 5 games left in the season. It can turn.
Well, as it did over the last 2 weeks. St Kilda out, playing Essendon, not tipped to win that. And they put in a magnificent performance.
And Carlton.
And the Blues. It's been a funny round.
Yeah. Everybody thought the coach was going to be sacked, and now they're back in the reckoning for a final spot with a draw that opens up for them. Johnson pops it wide, too far wide for Ibbotson. Bounced kindly. And taken to the line by Jason Tupp.
I reckon
just on.
That's the kick there, Roo, that I think they can get much more dangerous than. Johnson's trying to kick it to a contest to one of his teammates running wide, and yet he could kick it straight down the guts to the skipper Pavlich, who's won out against Markovic, and he's beaten him in that position 6 or 7 times already today.
Yep, that is a decision-making error, and he can practice decision-making, and
Crowley's put that back a bit, almost.
Yeah, not enough for the captain. He's not happy.
the sides actually do a lot of that now, decision-making training, and it needs to be done.
Bad decision there. Lower thought it was all right and pumps it back over the goal umpire's head.
Well, these are nightmares for blokes kicking the ball out from full back. Gone are the days where you could just long bomb it 50 metres and, as Dwayne often says, make it somebody else's problem. These days when you have to spot it up, the pressure comes on. And, well, that just doesn't get the job done.
But you don't have to do that, do you, Jared? We've seen this year a lot of sides have been kicking long. And look at the wind. You've got the wind at the back there. Why wouldn't you try and ping a target 50, 60 metres away? Look, it's not as if they're the most highly skilled team in the competition. So we've seen the last 2 goals made from skill errors about 15 metres out from goal.
Flick down, perfect. And again, they get the clearance and they turn it over from the clearance. We talked about that earlier today.
Interesting, they put Bradley into the ruck and Griffin stays as a loose man across half back.
Gilby, turnover back again, drives it inside 50. Dixon takes on Robertson and slips through a goal against the flow to keep the Dogs with hope.
Well, they're just showing they've still got a bit of appetite here, Roo. Appetite to work on the back of a couple of absolutely shocking skill errors. They've got their last 2 goals. So if the work rate for the Dockers drops off, they'll get a massive fright.
I think Griffin's gone back into the ruck now. Bradley's gone forward, so maybe he got caught on the wrong side of the square. Hopefully he didn't think he was kicking the other way. John O'Griffin, he might have done that, the big fella.
A lot of mistakes from both teams today, but they have both come in with similar poor form. Both came into this game having lost their past 2. The Dogs had lost 4 of their past 5. Fremantle had lost 5 of their past 6. So there are some mental demons perhaps for both teams. Mundy, who's got mental demons of his own. Duffield, McFarlane, Sutcliffe.
He's been impressive, Sutcliffe.
He kicked 2 goals and had 34 possessions last week for East Fremantle. That's why he got the call up. He was in good form in the waffle. Mzungu, that's an arm slap free.
Yeah, Sutcliffe was in the same group of players. Brodie Smith at the Crows and Jared Polek up at Brisbane. Those 3 players trained together at Woodville West Torrens and are really good mates.
Duffield. Pavlich. And maybe a man of his skills will line it up from here.
Is he prepared to chew off as much as he needs to, though? The last one, based on the last kick, he'd have to start this almost 2 metres on the goal side of the point post.
He's out. He's out.
Left side of the goal
Left
post.
side, yeah.
He's out to have a crack here. Is that the scoreboard says 30 minutes gone. So maybe
confident.
he thinks there's only seconds remaining.
I'm on him.
From 50. It's long. It's strong, but it hits the post.
That's a good kick.
He's hit that post a
posters.
few times, Dwayne, I think, against Geelong to win the game. So he knows that post very well.
That's how good he is, Jared. You said aim for that post and he hit it.
5-goal 2, and both of them have been posters.
Gilby, long from fullback. Markovic used the body but missed the ball. McPhee slaps it on. He has been good, Sutcliffe. Kick smothered there, though. Boyd, Sherman, little poke pass. Okay, no, it's not. Liberatore. He was aiming for Higgins, but he missed him. Robertson takes off.
Iverson's on.
Inside 2 minutes. Ballantyne, spear pass. Perfect pass to Pearce.
He's worked really hard, he had in Ballantyne, but that's a horrible kick. So it had to go into space behind him.
Fantastic third term. So they've already used their sub, Fremantle. Anthony Grove has been subbed out, but Kepler Bradley, Glenn Jakovich is about to let us know, had a poke in the eye, and he might not be able to come back on. Ballantyne
That's
on
10
cue.
for the quarter.
Little floater, and it's been the Shepherds and Smothers as well.
Yep.
Austin, Picken, pops it, hoping for and finding Daniel Cross. He'll have a big game next week. He'll play his 200th game next week for the Dogs. So even though the season might not end in finals, it will at least have some cream involved in it for Daniel Cross before it's over.
Way on.
Dixon gets told to go. Jakira. Fremantle have the extra man back with 50 seconds left. Oh, he fooled himself. And ran into Mzungu head first. Cut some slack because he ducked into it. Dalhouse bounces it. Johnson cuts it off, and maybe time for another Fremantle score. Barlow to Pavlich, missed him. Late.
His kicking today has been unbelievable, Barlow.
Unbelievable in a derogatory sense. What's his percentage?
36%.
Okay, so
1 in 3 kicks are hitting the target.
free kick here to the Dogs. Higgins needs to hurry this inside 50. Clock stops. Still has 17 seconds left. Now it rolls. They need a mark from this kick to give them some hope going into three-quarter time. Called to go. Shorts the pass.
That's a
arm slap free to Dixon, and he will have the last shot of the quarter. And maybe the Dogs' hopes of having a last quarter needle eye opening for the 4 points in this game rest in Tory Dixon's hands.
Yeah, the ball just moved a split second too late in the finish. It was such a good kick and grab that he had to give the free kick away.
He's had 2 4-goal games this year as a forward, Tory Dixon, against North Melbourne and Port Adelaide. He's got 2 this afternoon so far.
Got Will Minson on the line and only 2 Dockers. And hopefully he's not unable to shepherd it through, because Ross Lyon will have smoke coming out his ears if that happens.
Strikes it well, drives it long, and it's
Great
there.
kick.
And it does give the Dogs some hope at three-quarter time. Margin cut to just 22 points. Fremantle 10-10-70. The Western Bulldogs 7-6-48. A 22-point game at the last change.